Stop translating in your head. It's slowing your English. This is something I wish someone had told me earlier in my learning journey. When I first started learning English, I translated every single word in my head, every sentence, every idea, every thought. It didn't matter how simple the sentence was. Even something as short as "I'm hungry" became a long, slow, stressful process. I would hear, "I am hungry," and my brain would immediately start converting it into my native language. I broke the sentence into pieces, checked each meaning in my mind, and only then understood what the person was saying. But by the time I finished translating, the conversation had already moved on, and I was lost again. This happened to me again and again. Someone would ask me a question, and while they were waiting for my answer, I was still busy translating the first half of their sentence. They thought I didn't understand or wasn't interested. But the truth was simple. I was trapped inside my own head, translating everything instead of actually communicating. One day, a friend said something that completely changed the way I learned English. He said, "Your English will never be fast if you continue translating. Fluency is not about perfect grammar. It's about thinking directly in English." That moment felt like a light turning on. I realized something important. Translation is slow. It's too slow for real conversations, it's too slow for natural reactions, and it's definitely too slow to sound fluent. The mistake wasn't that I didn't study enough. The mistake was that I was using the wrong method, a method that almost all beginners use without noticing. I believed translation was necessary. I thought it was the correct way, the safe way, the school way. But in real life, translation creates a wall between you and English. The longer you depend on it, the harder it becomes to speak smoothly. After that realization, I decided to change how I learned. I wanted to train my brain to think directly in English, even with simple words. And guess what? You don't need to be advanced. You don't need to know difficult vocabulary. You can start thinking in English even as a complete beginner if you begin small, really small. And the first step is extremely simple. Start with easy words you already know. So here's the first method I used, and it worked better than anything else I tried. I looked around my room and named things in English every day, slowly at first, then faster. I would look at a chair and say, chair. I would look at a table and say, table. Window, phone, cup, door, floor, bed, book, bag, lamp, fan, mirror. Whatever I saw, I named it. No translation, no thinking in my native language, no checking meaning. Just the English word and the object. This is important because your brain learns best with direct connections. If you look at a chair and your brain first says chair, you win. If your brain first says the word in your native language and then translates, you lose time. You break fluency. You slow yourself. So naming things in English trains your brain to make fast, automatic connections. And fluency is all about automatic reactions. The second method I used was describing simple actions to myself. This is incredibly powerful because it builds thinking in English in real time, during your day, without studying, without books, without pressure. When I walked, I said in my mind, "I'm walking." When I opened the door, "I'm opening the door." When I ate something, "I'm eating." When I washed my hands, "I'm washing my hands." These sentences are easy, almost too easy, but don't underestimate them. They create a habit, the habit of thinking in English without translating. And this habit becomes the foundation of fast speaking. Because when you think in English, you speak faster automatically. You don't need to translate. Words come out naturally, like your native language. As I continued practicing this, something interesting happened. English began to feel less like a school subject and more like a part of my daily life. I noticed that some sentences came to my mind in English automatically, without effort. I didn't force them. They just appeared. And every time that happened, I knew I was improving. But to make this habit stronger, I created what I call English zones. These were specific moments in my day where I only allowed myself to think in English, no matter what. At first, I chose just two small moments. When brushing my teeth, I thought in English for 2 minutes. When walking to work, I thought in English for 5 minutes. These small English-only moments were powerful because they trained my brain to switch modes. I wasn't using English randomly. I was using it intentionally. Over time, these English zones expanded. 10 minutes became 15. 15 became 20. And soon, without noticing, English was present in many parts of my day. Not all day, not perfect, not advanced, but natural. That's the goal. Natural English, not perfect English. The next step, and this is something anyone can start today, is a simple daily exercise. Look around your space. Pick 10 objects. Say their names in English aloud, not silently, aloud. Your mouth needs practice too. For each object, make one simple sentence. For example, this is my bag. This is my notebook. This is my phone. This is my cup. This is my chair. These short sentences train both your brain and your mouth. Speaking aloud makes the words real. It builds confidence. It builds muscle memory. And yes, it builds fluency. Now, here's something I need you to understand. Thinking in English is not a skill only advanced learners can do. It's not something magical. It's not something you need years to master. It's a small change, but it creates a big jump in your speaking speed and confidence. Thinking in English is the bridge between knowing English and using English. The biggest mistake students make is believing they need more vocabulary before they can think in English. That is not true. You only need the words you already know. Use them. Even if it's just 10 words, even if it's just 5. Fluency is not about knowing everything. Fluency is about using what you already know without fear, without translating, without stopping. Start small. Start today. Pick one object. Think of the English word. Say it. Make a sentence. Don't translate. Do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. These small steps will make English feel lighter, faster, more natural. And one day you will notice something surprising. Someone will ask you a question in English, and you will answer immediately without translating. You won't even realize you did it. You'll just respond naturally, automatically. That's fluency. And it starts with the simple decision. Stop translating in your head. If you want to improve your English, you don't need more textbooks. You need more moments, more English moments, more English thoughts, more English sentences, more English habits. Thinking in English is not the final step of fluency. It is the beginning.